Welcome, welcome, welcome to the UpKeep Pledge Pros Podcast, a podcast dedicated to unmatched value and unwavering support for our customers and the community at large. Today, we have a longtime UpKeep customer, a industry professional. We have Alba Perdomo, the Regional Building Operations Manager at Days Hospitality Group. Alba, welcome.
Hi, Bryan. Thank you so much for this time and for the opportunity to talk to all of our beautiful prospects and people who wants to use the tool.
Sure, sure. Great. Thank you so much for having or for being here. We're so glad to have you. Um, Alba, you're leading a team. You're managing upkeep intimately every single day. And we really just wanted to kind of pick your brain about how upkeep has been helping you and all of the things associated with that. So before we start getting into all that, I have just the first question for you, which is tell us a little bit about how you got into facilities and building operations and kind of where it started and where you are today with it.
Okay, thank you. Well, Bryan, that was like really super random, to be honest with you. I'm from Colombia. I was working back in my country as um, I was working for Coca-Cola. It was a different thing. I was key account manager, and when I came to Canada, I ended up working as a housekeeping manager. So I started in the housekeeping department, and after some time, I realized that housekeeping and maintenance have a really close relationship, especially in hotels.
Yep.
So I started to do a few things for the maintenance department, and my company just offered me the opportunity to do a few things for maintenance, pretty much organizing a little bit the department because, maintenance, they're all hands-on. They want to do things, but they don't want to do administrative things. So I had the opportunity to do that. And after that, the company just offered me this position. So I have been working for Days Hospitality for 6 years. And after COVID happened, there was a huge opportunity for us because the hotel that we had in Vancouver, it was sold to the government. And I used to work for that hotel. So at that time, they offered me the regional position, and I started to be in charge of both departments. I mean, not being in charge, but I support both departments.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. And it is right. I mean, the housekeeping side is a form of maintaining your building, right? They're ensuring that the occupancy of the building is sustained and cared for, and that helps drive revenue, drives your reviews, drives the business, right? Which allows more money to come in for you to further help maintain that facility. So that's awesome. So right now, tell us a little bit about how you're using Upkeep in your current role.
Well, Bryan, when I started, I realized, well, and my company also knew we had a huge opportunity because we were managing the work orders in different ways. So we have papers, we have these little papers with color copies, a pink one and a yellow one. So we left one copy in front desk, the other one was for the maintenance department. They needed to go and pick up these copies to see what needed to be done. And then we also had an Excel file that helped us to support and managing and controlling the department. But that was really, I'm not going to say a waste of time, but we were investing time in things that were not worth it. So we realized that we needed something, and we started just to check online, to see what options we had. And we found you guys. So we started checking pros and cons. So I'm going to talk about that later. But the thing is, we really wanted to get rid of this manual process to follow up on work orders, and you guys were offering that. So that's how we ended up like working with you at the first. That was one of the main reasons why we wanted to work with you. And also you have like so many other things in your platform that were really worth it for us. And we started using all the other capabilities that you guys have in the platform.
Yeah, that's super common. When you're overseeing large facilities and lots of people in different locations, right? I mean, handing somebody a piece of paper to go do a job, it just becomes very cumbersome, right? Um,
Absolutely. And who
you
can
know,
manage that? Like nobody, it's just a bunch of papers, and then the information goes to an Excel file, but
yeah,
nobody checks that Excel file, right?
yeah,
Like nobody really tracked down like how many times we have gone to the same room or how many times we have fixed whatever thing in the same public area. So it's really hard. I mean, I love Excel, and I think if you use it properly, it gives you some information. But it wasn't a third step, you know? So
Yeah.
you put it in a paper, then you put it on an Excel. So it was just, we were investing time in things that were not really worth it.
Yeah. And, I like to tell people too, there's nothing wrong with Excel, right? But
Oh,
Excel and paper, they're a limiting factor for your ability to grow and scale your maintenance and operational departments, right? There becomes
absolutely.
a cap that you just can't go above because of that factor. And like using Upkeep, Alba, you can fly to Colombia and be on your phone seeing what's going on, right? You can keep track of everything that's going on.
I know it has helped me a lot to be able to manage the department because I am not based, I'm based in Vancouver. Our properties are in Calgary, Prince George,
Yeah.
Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie. So it's everywhere. So it's really hard for me to know what's happening, right? So it's an amazing tool because from here I have access to all my properties. I can see all the work orders that are open, what is pending, what has not been done. So it's amazing. It helps me to understand the department first, but also control it.
That's awesome. I love to hear it. That's so good. So I have my next question for you, Alba, is what types of software, if any, or systems have you used before Upkeep? So excluding Excel, any other type of CMMSs or work management systems?
Well, we do have some platforms, but the platforms that we have are related with our hotels. For example, there is one that is called Opera, which is a PMS system for
Mhm.
us. That's the one that we use for our reservations and for housekeeping in our hotels. Um, um, well, besides that one, we have a Dayforce, but it's like a human resources platform.
Sure.
We have InTouch. InTouch is another platform that helps you to create checklists, and it allows you also to create dashboards. So those are the three ones that we use the most, I would say.
How about in your past, anywhere, any other type of maintenance softwares that you've used?
Ooh, long time ago, there was Salesforce,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure there was a few more things, but that was like
Yeah.
back when I was in Colombia.
Yeah, I think Salesforce now has some sort of like work order management, like ticketing system. But it seems to be more geared towards the salespeople as opposed to the maintenance people.
Yeah, exactly. And
Right.
because I was in sales at that time, so that's what we were using.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, so I guess what I really want, this is like kind of the culminating question. There's one more after this, but really it's like we talked about it a little bit, but how has Upkeep really optimized or improved your current role? So you, as the regional building operations manager, how has it been the turning point? What has it done that really shines to allow you to do your best work and to really facilitate success for your team?
Well, there are like so many advantages by using the system. So as I said before, one of the main reasons, or not main reasons, but one of the key things for me is that it has been allowing me to control and organize the department. So it's easier for me to know exactly what people are doing and where are they allocating their time. Because what happened with maintenance is, as I said, they're like super good, they're hands-on, but they just disappear during the day. So you don't know exactly what's going on. And there are certain tasks that might take 5 to 10 minutes, but sometimes it takes more time. So one of the key things that I have with UpKeep is the analytics. The analytics, I just love the dashboards, and I love the fact that I can customize it the way that I need it. Candice is the person who supports me.
Shout out
She's the
Candace.
manager of my account. She's just great. She helps a lot with customizing my dashboard. So it's super easy for me to know by person how many work orders were tackled in a day and how much time they allocated on them. Then I can just create strategies, because it's not just to know what is happening, it's to understand what can we do better, right? So for example, I don't want to have a maintenance person just changing light bulbs, right? That's a task that anybody else could do. So this is helping me to understand. I created some categories for my hotel. So based on the categories that we have, where are we putting the time, and if it is worth it for them to do it. So in each hotel is its own world. So we have different issues in each hotel, and I have been able to understand better what are the things that we need to improve and the things that probably I could even subcontract. You
Sure.
know, sometimes it's not even worth it for us to put that much of time because our team is probably not completely skilled, or they are skilled, but it's not worth it for us to put all those hours into something when I can just bring an external company, a third party, to do the job that is going to take like a lot less time. It might cost a little bit more, but in the long run, it's worth it for me to have the guys doing something else. So it helps me a lot to create a strategy, let's say, for the department. Um, what else? Get the information in real time. That's super important also. In hotels, what happened is that once something is wrong, housekeeping needs to report it to maintenance, right? And before, it was difficult for us to understand if the thing was done. So the people were using the radios or calling maintenance. So they had radio, phone, and like so many ways to communicate with us. But sometimes it was even challenging for the housekeeping department. Right now, we know in real time if it was done or not. So it has streamlined the process, first of all, but also saving us like traveling time, because
Sure.
before, housekeeping was going back to the room to check if something was done. Right now, we know in real time, right? So
So you're
it
using the
saves
request
tons
function
of
then.
times for us. It's information in real time. Um, it also, you guys have also the preventative maintenance. That is amazing because in some of our properties, yes, we do have binders, and our maintenance people is very knowledgeable, so they know when they need to do certain things. But what happens if they are on vacations? Like
Right.
nobody knows, right? Right
Yep.
now, with our preventative maintenance, we have triggers. So every time we need to do an inspection or call a third party to do certain things in the property, they don't need to be there. We know that that has to happen, right? And it allows us to prepare better, to plan and organize, get some quotes in advance if it is needed. So that is one of the other super advantages that I have seen. Um, Inventories is something that we haven't done, but it's something that we want to implement with the time because
Yep.
it's extremely worth it for us. As you know, like we have a lot of inventories and things in our property, and it's really good for you to know what you have because
Sure.
you need to plan your purchase orders, do it with enough time. Lead times with vendors are different. It depends on the item. So it's good for you to know when you need to order certain items so you never run out. So you don't have to put rooms out of order also just because you don't have that part or
Right.
that. And
That's awesome.
it's yeah, it's great. I mean, I think it's pretty evident, but I have been enjoying the tool
Yeah.
a lot.
So what I hear, and the first part of your explanation of how it's helped optimize regarding technician time, and what you're saying is so good to hear because just managing and understanding the cost benefit of maintenance is so important. Sometimes it's literally not worth having a technician go and do something. It's just not, right? And as you said, it's either skill sets. We're going to get a better, more quality repair based on the tools needed, the skill set needed if we contract it out, which is no fault to the technician, right? And then it might be risk mitigation. Maybe it's something that is, has some serious risk implications. We don't want our technicians being involved in those things. So we contract out to specialized people. So super important. And another thing you said, which is super important, is understanding the time allocation, right? That's how we get the most efficient because we often find in maintenance departments that we think people are busy and that a lot is getting done, but when you actually start to do time studies through your CMMS, you start to find that there's actually a lot of downtime throughout the day, and the day can be planned and categorized and managed much more efficiently, so that technicians know, okay, here's my list or my in-process work or assigned work for me. I know I've got to get these things done through the day. It's all optimized. You know where everybody's at. That's great. And then the other thing I heard was the request function. Is the housekeeping team using your request function to put in tickets that can be tracked to completion with your maintenance team?
Well, it's pretty much everybody in our hotel, and that's one of the advantages too. Before it was just the housekeeping department, but right now everybody in the hotel has an account. So every single manager, people in front desk, so
Perfect.
if they just do their tours and walk around, they can simply see things and just put the work order right away. Before, because it was in paper, people felt like, oh, I need to go and grab a paper. So it was an extra step. So they were not super prompt to do it.
Yeah.
And right now, because just they have the app in their cell phones, it's extremely easy to put a request. So we are getting requests not just from housekeeping, but different departments and different leaders in the hotel. So
So
that's
good.
awesome too.
It allows you to stay ahead of things, right? It enables people to want to solve problems because it's not cumbersome. It's not like, oh, I'm on the 10th floor and I found a problem. Now I got to walk all the way downstairs to the office and get a ticket, walk all the way back up there, fill it out, right?
Exactly. That
Yeah.
was not happening a lot before. Right now with UpKeep, I feel that they are encouraged to do that. They because it takes us like 30 seconds, honestly, to
Yeah.
place a work order. So it's extremely easy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
And
you had
it's
mentioned,
very user friendly, you know. I have always said, okay, this is your password, this is your credentials, etc. If you need some training, let me know. But it's just so natural that most of the time I don't end up training people
yeah,
because they know it's super user friendly. We
yeah.
just need to adjust a few things with them, but it's extremely easy for them to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, Upkeep was designed to be mobile first, and it was designed with the technician or the end user in mind. So a lot of CMMSs, there's a million of them, but some of the really big ones are very complicated, and you have to know like certain nomenclature and IDs and codes and all these things that don't work with you essentially, right? You have to learn this whole new skill and become like this expert in this thing when in reality, CMMS should enable the way work is already done and not force the change. You know what I mean?
You know what I also love? The fact that you can put pictures.
Yeah.
Because I have people from everywhere in the world. Even for me, it's my second language. So sometimes we call things differently, sometimes the accent, you know, so it's beautiful because you can just simply say what it is or what you think it is and spell it in the way you think it is, and then just take a picture.
Yeah.
And maintenance will know right away what is the thing. So it saves some time also because even if you said, let's pretend that it's a light bulb. Hey, light bulb needs to be changed. Sometimes it was just like, which one? You know, now that we have the pictures, even though in the first place they could have been a little bit more specific and say, is the, I don't know, the bathroom or the desk lamp or whatever light bulb, most of the times they were not super specific. Right now that we have the picture, it saves some time for maintenance also because they grab the right thing to fix or to do the job, and they go and do it. So it's saving us some time there.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And you know, I'm sure Candace has probably told you, Upkeep comes in several languages too.
It does.
So we can really like help optimize language barriers, ensure that people are all in lockstep, right? And that communication or language is not a defining barrier.
That's very fair. I also want my team to be able to pronounce and say the things properly,
Sure.
but as you said, it definitely can help to optimize it.
Yeah. So how many maintenance personnel do you have at like all together using Upkeep?
I would say, well, just maintenance users, 12 people.
Cool. And then
Yeah.
how about all together?
Oh, all the users, I would say probably have like 100 people using
Wow.
UpKeep
That's awesome.
because, as I said, everybody has its own. We have people in front desk also submitting requests from guests, or whenever they do their walks through the property, they also request repairs. So I would say probably 100 people.
Wow, that's awesome. I love to hear it. It's so cool. And you know, when you're an administrator like you in Upkeep, you can actually go in and see the last time people logged in, all that type of stuff. So it's sometimes it's fun to see how many people are actually utilizing it, right?
It's insane. To be honest with you, I wish I could spend more time in UpKeep because I know it's a very robust system. It offers a lot of things, but I can't keep up with my work and UpKeep. But to be honest, I would love to put more time because I know there are things that I'm missing,
Sure.
but it's going to take me some time. For example, the asset part also is just great.
Yeah.
I mean, you have boilers, you have equipment that is extremely expensive, that if you don't service that equipment, it can be damaged in like no time. So having all that information and having the triggers for the assets is super important. We have been working in the like building the asset part, and it's insane because at first you see and you think that you have, I don't know, 40 items or 40 assets. And then when you start actually logging things, you realize that you have tons of equipment and assets in your property. So I
Yeah.
have a property with like 150 assets. And I'm like, but if you go around, you wouldn't find them.
Yeah.
But now that we are looking for them, it's like we have tons of money in that property, the whole
Yeah.
building is with all this equipment is just super valuable.
Yeah. And that, one of the next things that you may be able, once you get all that stuff down, is start looking at your replacement asset value costs so that when you do buy new things, you can put them in our replacement asset value portion of upkeep. And then you can start to understand how much you're spending on maintenance and man hours against machines value. And eventually you get to a point where it's not worth maintaining anymore, right? It
Exactly.
should be replaced. And then you have the
Exactly.
data to make those pitches to senior leadership about capital improvements. It's not just, hey, we work on this thing a lot, we need to replace it. Well, they're going to go, what do you mean? Where's the dollar sign, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's something that we want to start doing soon, but we're still a little behind.
Yeah, sure, it's okay.
Um, but that is something extremely important for us to be able to build a proper budget for maintenance.
Yeah,
Right now, we have a budget and we work with some numbers, but once we can put all of the information that we need in Upkeep, we will be able to get a pretty good picture of how much money we need to invest next
right.
year. Of course, there are things that are going to happen, random things, okay, once in a while, but at least most of the things that we need to repair or fix or change are going to be there
That's
for
right.
us.
That's awesome. That's so good. So I'm not even going to ask you why upkeep because I think we just spent the last 15 minutes explaining why upkeep. But what I want to do, Alba, is I want to give you the last word. If anybody would like to talk to you maybe about hospitality management, building operations, or maybe just maybe get your perspective on what upkeep is. Maybe they're interested. How can they get a hold of you?
You can provide my email address to them. I will be happy to speak with anybody who would like to know a little bit better from the customer side about
Sure.
Upkeep.
Same LinkedIn reaching out okay as well?
Absolutely, yes.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Alba, it has been amazing. And I want to thank you so much for talking to me. And on behalf of Upkeep, thank you so much for being a longtime customer. Thank you for leveraging the system and having strong insights and strategy based on the system because CMMS is just a CMMS. It takes the person to really understand and derive these strategies, these things from the system to make good decisions. And you're clearly demonstrating that. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to share all the information that I have from Upkeep.
Yes, thank you so much. And we will see you on the next one, Alba. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.